Yeah, good evening, everyone. Um, we are starting this night with the topic project management components. The previous class we had, we treated the introduction of uh, project management, the role of project management, and we covered a lot. And now we are gradually stepping into the project management proper. Now we're looking at the scope of project management. Project management, the components are structured. There are so many components, but we are going to look at the key components. The key components of the project management that we are going to be using is the scope management, stakeholder management, cost management, risk management, and change management. If you can master these components very well, then you are a very good project manager. Let's look at the scope management. First of all, what is scope? Scope management ensures that all processes and activities involved are well defined and the project and the project deliverables and outputs are achieved to a high standard. Is define the success of the project as well as the input and output needed to ensure success. So scope in project management means the area we need to cover in that project, the deliverables, the do's, and during scope management, we equally identify the don'ts. So the scope management you need to look at the do's and the don'ts. What you need to do to achieve the project and what you don't need to do is equally good to define what you don't need to do. These are the boundaries. You don't need to cross those boundaries. It's a no-go area for you to achieve your goals. If you need to cross the boundary, there must be a good reason to do that. Now, let's look at the scope management processes. Project scope management includes the processes required to ensure that the projects include all the work required and only the work required to complete the project successfully. Managing the project scope is primarily concerned with the defining and controlling what is and is not included in the project, just like I've said before, what is included and what is not included. So you must define what is included and then define the boundaries. So that is the main thing. The processes according to PMI, you need to plan your scope management. This is one of the processes. Planning scope management includes creating a scope management plan that documents how the project and the scope will be defined, validated, and controlled. When you define this scope, the scope must be validated. Validated means that a senior officer, either a senior, if you are a junior project manager, a senior project manager, your line manager must validate it. It must be signed and it must be approved and signed before you can start working with that document as a working document. And it has to be controlled. How you are going to control the scope is very important. You have to state how you are going to. You can't just say, I will control it. There must be a documented plan on how you are going to control the scope. Is going to be part of the scope plan. Then after you must have created your scope management plan, the next thing is you start collecting requirements. Requirement is documenting, you need to work with the stakeholders, to know what the stakeholders need, because they are the people driving the project. Because requirement gathering can be data collection, you can call it requirement gathering, but you need to collect requirements, document it. You must work with your stakeholders to make sure you define this scope. At this point in time, the stakeholders, you must have a workshop with the stakeholders or a meeting with the stakeholders for you people to identify the scope. They need to make their input. You need to understand what they have in mind, the goals and the objectives. Then the next one is define the scope. The process of developing a detailed description of the project and the product. That's why you define it, a detailed description. What is the objective? What are you? Everything has to be in detail. We call it low level requirement. You have to go down in details to define the scope. When you have defined the scope very well, then the next thing is to create a work breakdown structure. Work breakdown structure is that you need to start breaking the deliverables. What needs to be done to achieve the project? You need to break it down into smaller components, smaller manageable components. Maybe you can break it down with components you can manage within a week or within 2 weeks, depending on how you want to run your project, but it must be broken down so that within 2 weeks or within 1 week, I have to achieve this. Within 1 week, that like this our session now is you can see the way I break it down. That within 2 weeks, I will achieve project management. Another week, I will achieve business analysis. So that's how you break it down. That's called work breakdown structure. When you break it down, the next thing is to get it validated. You need to work with your line manager. Any step you take must be validated. At this point in time, after the work is being broken down, your line manager needs to review what you've done and approve it. And when it's approved, then that means that you've started. You have to go into project management proper. That's where you have to start the controlling process. During this control, that's where you monitor the status of the project and the product scope and managing changes to the scope baseline. So when you create a breakdown structure and it's been approved, you need to baseline it. Baselining means that this is a kind of benchmark. So if anything need to move, anything need to happen outside this baseline, then you must follow a due process to document it, to manage the change. A change can come at any time in project, but you must have a plan to manage the changes. That's as part of change management. So these are how the process of managing project. When you manage your project scope very well, I don't see any reason why you shouldn't deliver your project very well on time and budget. But if you miss anything at this point in time, then it will come down haunting you along the line when you're managing the project. I equally created this, adopted this project scope management map. You know, it gives you a visual diagram. Looking at it will just help you know how to just go down and manage your scope very well. In project management, modern project management and business analysis, you are going to be seeing a lot of map like this diagram. You know, it speaks much. And moreover, the management, you know, your management will be overseeing a lot of things. So they don't have time to be looking into detailed reports. So they prefer using diagram to illustrate your point, so that once they look at it, they will see what you are trying to, the message you are trying to convey. So in this diagram, you can see a scope, a plan scope management. That is 5.1. You see all the things you need to do, your deliverables, in order to plan your scope. It shows you the input, which is the project charter. I made a mention of project charter during our introductory section. Then project management plan, enterprise environmental factors, organizational process assets. Then you look at the tools and techniques which you need to employ. Then you look at the output. At the end of this process, you must come out with output. It's always the input and output. That's what the management is looking at. What are you? They always ask you, what do you need to do, and what are you getting out after the input, and what are the techniques you need to employ to achieve this. That's how you manage projects. Those are the best practice in managing projects. After that, then you go into data collection. That is a collect requirement. I've stated this, the inputs, the tools, and the output. You can see again in the input, the project charter is still there. You need to work, the project charter is an authority. A lot of things you need to do, you must work with project charter, where you, because in project charter, it contains the aims, it contains the problem. Start from the problems. You need to identify your problems, the aims of why are you trying to solve this problem? What are you trying to achieve solving this problem? What are you going to do in order to solve this problem? You know, What are the requirement, the timeline, the budget? All these things are in project charter. So that's why in most of everything you do, you see project charter. Project charter. You have to be referring to project anytime it's an authority in project management. You need to work with it all the time. It becomes your guide. So after you collect the requirement, which is the input you have to come from the project charter, project management plan, project documents, business documents, agreements, enterprise environment. Then the tools, which are the expert judgment, data gathering, data analysis, decision making, data representation, interpersonal team skill, context diagram, prototypes. And the output is going to be requirement documentation and requirement traceability metrics. These are the things you need to get after requirement gathering. Then after requirement gathering, you go to scope definition. You can see the project charter is still there. It's part of the input. You still need to work with your project charter, project management plan, enterprise environment. These are the things you can't do without all these things. If after then you go to work breakdown structure. In work breakdown structure, there's I've said about it where you break everything down into smaller components, manageable components. You see, project the input is a project management plan, project document, enterprise environment factors, organizational process assets. You look at the tools and techniques you need to do this and the output. After then, you validate scope. To validate scope, you look at the input and the output, the tools and the output. And then after validation, just like we said earlier, you control the scope. These are the map gives you, if you don't know anything in project management, even if you are a greenhorn, you are just coming in, with this kind of map, you know what to do. You already know what to do. You don't need if somebody just just give you assign a project to you, even if you are confused, just come to this project scope management map. Look at it. You've seen the map. Just give you a guide of what to do, itemized in a diagram. You can see it highly itemized, so you know how to do it sequentially in order to achieve what you want to achieve. So that is the scope management process for you. I need to talk about a project charter, because you see we'll be talking about project charter. Project charter, it means that it's a very big document, and I want you to see how this project charter looks at this point in time, so you can guide us as we proceed. I'm going to show you a sample of a project charter. It's a very powerful document. It's very simple, but very powerful. The project charter, this is a project charter sample. You can use this to create your own project charter. If you are creating it, but most companies, they have their project charter template, which they will give to you. So in project charter, the things contains in project charter is the project title. You must give the project a title, the project start date. The project must have a start date and end date. Just like when we are talking about features of a good project management, talk about every project must have time limit. You can't manage a project indefinitely. It doesn't happen. So you must have time and the end time. So if you are from the project charter, it's meant to be for most projects. After 4 months, which is contained in the project chart, they must tell the management why this project is exceeding 4 months. It must have a reason, a valid reason. So like this, our project, we stated that it's going to be a 4 months program. And at the end of 4 months, and we don't deliver, then I should be held accountable. Why am I not? Why is this course or program not delivered within the 4 months? And I must have a valid reason to defend myself. So, see, the project manager must the name of the project manager and the sponsor who is sponsoring this project, who is the client. The sponsor must not only be the client. There's something I want to address. It must not be from outside the company. A sponsor can be even somebody from the organization. It can be internal process improvement. So it mustn't be when you are working for a client, because everybody is not going to work for consulting firm that are handling a lot of clients. So there's a lot of internal improvement all the time within the organization. So the sponsor here might be a senior project manager or somebody, even if not a project manager, but is the sponsor. So it must be identified at the beginning. So it's the highly placed stakeholder in the project. Then business need. The business need is the problem. What are you trying to achieve? What is the problem? What is the need? They have a need. That's why they are implementing this project. What is the business need? It must be clearly stated in the project charter from day one that this is what we are trying to achieve. So yeah, if you are doing anything outside what the state is their aim and objective, you're on your own. Then project scope. You can see why project charter is following project scope everywhere. You see, it's there. You have to identify project scope. Here you write the project scope. It might be in a very high level status here, but everything here must be contained in this project charter, all the scope, you know. And the way it has to be contained in the project charter should be to do and what not to do. You must be stated what needs to be done, and you must state all the things that you don't need, no-go area. So you need to clearly state the boundary within the scope of the project. And after then, you need to look at the deliverables. When you state the scope, you look at the deliverable. Within this scope, how do we deliver it? How do we break it down? What are we going to do? Where are we starting from? Because this scope contains a lot of requirements. So what are we going to do? How do we start? What comes first? You need to list all the deliverable here in the project charter. Then you look at the risk. Even before you start a project, you must have risks associated with projects based on historical data. Every project have got their risks. For instance, if you are starting a motor company, everybody knows the risk of a motor company applying on the highway, accidents. How do we stop this? These are the things. How do we select? How do we choose our drivers? You know, because drivers, if you choose drivers that are not qualified, that doesn't have a driving license, that's becomes an issue. So these are the risks you need to identify, risks and issues. Although you've not started, but it's good to identify them. And then you prepare, that will help you to prepare a risk management plan waiting for them, because they must surely come. I've not seen any transport company that have not registered the accident before. But the way they manage their accident, their emergency response is what we are looking at. How they try their proactiveness in stopping accidents, like the kind of driver, like so many of them, they have a manifest for all their passengers to write their names, their address, these are the way you plan for risk management. So, and then you look at assumptions and dependencies. These are the things you still need to look at. So many of these projects or deliverables, they have complementary projects they are working to. So you need to look, what are their dependencies? So these are the things, everything needs to be stated in the project charter. So that's why you can see why project charter is a very powerful document. Because once you've done a very powerful project charter, you'll just be a happy project manager. You won't struggle. A lot of project managers will be sweating because they didn't do their work very well. But you've done their work very well. Like me, whenever I join any company, either as a business analyst or a project manager, the first thing I will want to know is, do we have it? Even if, because at times you join a project that have already started. So what you need to know or do is ask question, where is the project charter? Once you see the project charter, you know what they are doing, what they are trying to achieve, where they are. And you will be able to, blend in very well. So these are why I decided to bring project charter here, because it speaks a lot of authoritative language in project management. So after everything, you must have a milestone. A milestone is that everything, all the deliverables, all of them need a timeline. What are you going to do to reach a milestone? If, for instance, if you are, I'm going to use Nigeria as an example, traveling from Lagos by road to Abuja. I've done that before. A milestone can be when you get to Lokoja. You see, most of them is a milestone. When you are traveling, you see some people, they just have somewhere to refresh, ease themselves, relax a bit, and then they move on again. So it's like that in every project. When you reach a milestone, here it's time to celebrate with your team. At times, maybe on weekend, you take your team, you guys go to a pub to have a cup of drinks and celebrate your milestone. So it's very important to celebrate your milestone, because it's not easy. It's an achievement in project. So when you reach a milestone in a project, you celebrate. So that's why it's important to itemize all your milestones. So the target completion date. You have target completion date and you have actual date. Why is that? Because so many times we plan to end the project at a particular time, but due to one circumstances, we'll find out that it's not possible. Maybe your team member, you might all of a sudden you have a shortage of team members. Somebody might just drop, and somebody can just resign. He's not interested or you've got another job, it's going to affect your project. So in a situation like that, you find out that you don't have enough human resources that will help you to complete that within the time expected. So but all these things need to be documented. When it's happening, you keep documenting them. So you need to state your target date. So, and project charter is a continuous, keep on updating it as you work. So when you actually arrive at your destination, maybe finishing a milestone, then you come and update it with the actual date it ended. So it's a continuous process. It's not like you've created a project charter, you can keep it. You have to be using, you have to be working with it till you finish the project. Then you look at the team members. The project team, you must, like the project team members that you are starting the project with, you must state them here. All of them, they must come under the project charter. So these are people that will be held accountable for that project. Then approval and review committee is here. Like every step you take, you need to be reviewed and approved by your sponsor. Is the project sponsor. There is stated here, like another division, business division head, business unit head, finance manager, all these people, any steps you take, depending on their involvement in the project, they need to, I will call it validation. Approval, review, and result validation. When they review, it means they have been validated. So that's how project charter is. And with this, I think you have an authoritative knowledge of project charter. If you are starting a project today, I'm sure you are going to handle that project very well with this description and explanation with this project charter. Another thing is that we need to look into is prioritization, because some of all this your scope, you need to prioritize them. Like I said, deliverable, when you list deliverables, which one are you going to start with? And which one are you not going to start? There is a way to do it so that you won't struggle. And the way to do it is through scope prioritization using a Moscow analysis. Moscow analysis is a very powerful project management tool or technique that we use to prioritize not only our scope, even our requirement, everything, anything you are doing, you need to prioritize your activity in the order of importance, and you start working with them. And it means M for this Moscow is a must. So under the must, you need to list all the things that need to be done, must be done. You list it under must. Then some that is should be done. All of us know that must and should is not the same thing. It should be done, but it's not like if it's not done, the project cannot continue again. You might find a way to navigate and move on with the project. So it must be done. So, and after then, you look at could. What are the things that could in it? It's not so everything is based on importance. Could it could be or it couldn't be. So it's, you can see that there is not a must. But the last one here is won't. That's the boundary. You must state it. You must not have this. You must not, you know. So if you are maybe a student of so university, say that as a student of this, you must not go this place. This is no go area. You out of bound. You know, in so many companies, even if you are working, there's areas they will just out of bound to customers or out of bound. So these are no go area. You don't, while doing this project, don't do that. So that is it. So that's done. I will look at example of a scope, a project scope. So you look at how the scope looks. This is an example I picked to just illustrate how it looks like, because it's good at seeing it. This is human resources talent management system for ABC company. This is their scope. From this left hand to the right hand is the movement of things. From here is the hiring manager. The hiring manager needs to interact with the system in order to produce a deliverables towards the recruiting agency, towards the job seekers, and the external job website. So here the hiring manager, maybe here he will prepare, he want to recruit some people for the company. So all he needs to do is go to the company portal, prepare the jobs, type the jobs, list the job, and then post the job on their website. And from their website, which is this internal user profile and external, this is the website, the portal, a kind of a portal or data management portal. So from here, that's where he does all his jobs. And then he posts the job in the website. And the recruiting agencies will come and say, so this company is recruiting. They'll start sourcing for competent people to fill the vacancies. And equally, at times, so many of them do recruit directly. They don't go through recruitment agencies. So job seekers can apply to the job directly on their website. So in this scope, if you are asked to design an application or a website, for instance, like Udemy, Upwork, I've employed you as a project manager to work with a business analyst to develop a website where people can be coming to look for jobs. This is a very good example of how you do that. You look at the requirement. How can a hiring manager post a job? It's a requirement. You know, internal associates, internal full-time and part-time contractors. You must make provisions for all of them. These are the requirements. Another requirement is how can the hiring manager interact with the website? It's very important. Where are they going to be typing the jobs? Where are they going to be listing the jobs? You need to make a provision where they are going to be listing the job on the website. And how are they going to be, making sure that the job seekers will have access to the job or see the job. And then that's why you come here. That's why if you come to a website, you can easily browse jobs and apply for jobs. And then they will be able to review the job and get back to you and eventually hire you. So you can see all these things as scope. Recruiting agency is a scope, it's a requirement, it's a must-have. Job seekers, you must have, this project must have a job seeker page, external job website. You must have all these things. These are the things that need to be done. That's the way the data, that is the data flow, from internal users to internal data flow to external users to external data flow. That's the data flow. If you are a business, it's the duty of a business analyst to design this. So these are one of the things business analysts do. You design something like this. And this will help the project manager to do his job as well. It's not the duty of project manager to design this. It's the duty of a business analyst. They design all these things. But as a project manager, you need to work with them in order to understand what you'll be doing. The next thing we are going to look at is the scope creep. Scope creep in project management refers to changes, continuous or uncontrolled growth in a project scope at any point after the project begins. This can occur when the scope of the project is not properly defined, documented, or controlled. It is generally considered harmful. This is the major problem most business analysts and project managers are facing: scope creep. Out of time. If you are given 4 months to do a project and you are doing the project in 6 months, that's scope creep. That's two months added is scope creep. If you are meant to spend £5,000 to deliver a software, and at the end of the day, you are demanding another £3,000, that's £3,000 is a scope creep. So because it's not in the original agreement, so that is scope creep. That's the definition of scope creep. And these things happen when the scope is not well defined. Not well defined is that when people are planning it, you didn't understand it very well. You didn't know that it's going to happen this way. It's because you didn't understand the objectives. You didn't understand things very well. You need to understand. Maybe you didn't consult the sponsor very well. You assume that this is what the sponsor wants, but maybe along the line you find out that that's not what the sponsor wants, and from what you find out that what the sponsor wants, it's costlier to do that. But at this point in time, you have already designed your project charter, which has been validated. So that is it. It's very important that it's well defined. So it's one of the major harmful things or dangerous problem we do encounter in project management, and we should try as much as possible to avoid it. Although it's very difficult to avoid, but what we do is we plan to manage it. You make a provision for that. So to make a provision for scope creep, during your budgeting, you must make plans for contingencies, foreseen circumstances. Whereby if the budget that's been approved for to develop that software is a £10,000, then if you are a good project manager, you need to plan to use 5,000. Try to work within 5,000 at the initial stage, so that even if along the line you started seeing things started unfolding, maybe from that 5,000 you are working to manage the project, you move to 6,000. You can see you are still within the range of the approval to 7,000. Maybe before the end of the project, you might just end up using the 10,000. Still, you are a good project manager because you made plan to accommodate a buffer to accommodate all these things coming. So you must make a plan. So because we are talking about scope creep because it do exist. If it doesn't exist, there should be no reason why we are talking about it. And the key causes of scope creep: ambiguous or undefined scope definition, lack of any formal scope or requirement management, inconsistent process for collecting product requirements, lack of sponsorship and stakeholder involvement, and project length. If the scope is ambiguous, it's very difficult. So you try as much as you can to make sure that your scope is very simple. Don't use big language or big vocabulary. Just try to find a very simple vocabulary to define it, what you want to do, so that it will be everybody, even a layman, will understand it. It's better you use simple language, simple terms to define your scope than using big vocabularies. Lack of any formal scope or requirement management. Scope management must have a template, a plan. You can't just say, okay, this is you must have a validated plan. Company must have a plan. If company don't have a plan, try to initiate it. A scope, the way you manage your scope requirement. Inconsistent process for collecting product requirement. You must have a consistent way. Not today you use this Lean methodology. Tomorrow you use Agile methodology. You must have a consistent plan. Or there are so many ways. You have so many ways to collect. Like you have a CPOC map. You have fishbone diagram. These are techniques. They are all of them are solving problems, but they are coming from different angles. So not when you use this at times you get confused. You don't even know which, because at times they start conflicting. So you must have a way, a consistent way of doing things, managing your project, your scope, you are collecting your requirement. Lack of sponsorship and stakeholders. Yes, stakeholders, they must involve. You must carry them along. You must have a plan on how to manage your stakeholders very well. And this project length, like what if a project duration becomes so long, there is high chances of falling into scope. So projects should be time bound. Make sure that your project is have a starting date and a closing date, a duration. and work within that duration. With all that, it will help you to eliminate a scope creep. Now, I itemized how to avoid scope creep here for you, so that even later you can just come and have a look, and it will help you. So here is how to avoid scope creep. Clear, well-managed scope is a key element to successful projects. Scope statements should include both features in and out of scope. I've said all these things before, but let's just repeat it. Business analysts can contribute to clear scope with effective requirement elicitation. Requirement elicitation is requirement gathering, it's data collection. Very soon, when you'll be doing business analyst course, all you'll be hearing is the requirement gathering, requirement elicitation, requirement analysis. These are what you'll be hearing till you finish the business analysis. So business analysis is very powerful. They are the midfielders. So a project manager should include a change management process in scope management plan. Just like I said before, you must have a plan, scope management plan. You've not fallen into scope creep, but you must have a plan on how to manage it, even how to make sure you don't fall, and even how to manage it when you fall into creep. Establish and follow required process for scope modeling. Like I said, using a consistent, you must have a model, scope modeling. A model, you must have your own model that works for you. And we have a generally accepted model like a CPOC map. CPOC map is very, very powerful. It's a very powerful tool. What CPOC means is S is for supply, what need to be supplied. So it means suppliers. What input need to be brought in, and input, process, output, and C is the customer. When you make an input, then what is the process to make that input? And what is the process from the input to become an output? And then how does the customer want it? This is the what CPOC map is talking. Is a model. I just choose the model out of so many other models. There are so many other models like fishbone diagram, process mapping. So then analysis, you need to, it's still a model, requirement analysis, prioritization, traceability metrics, and changement. These are process model. You must have a standard model of managing your scope. Then sponsors should develop a project charter to keep the ownership. So it's advisable that the sponsors should be the people developing the project charter. As a project manager, it's better for them to develop it and give it to you, so that you know that actually this is what they want. It's not like you are asking them what they want. They've given you what they want and you work with them. But if they want to work with you to develop it, then it's still very good. Use tools like RACI metrics. RACI is responsible, accountable, consulted, and the form is a metrics to manage roles and responsibilities in projects. So with that, you should know who is responsible for doing this, who is accountable for this particular deliverable, who will be consulted, why trying to deliver this deliverable? Who should be informed? Why trying to deliver this deliverable? It's very important tools and techniques. All of them will have their templates for you to be using, because when you'll be doing your work experience, these are the tools you need to be working with. You need to work with all these tools for you to deliver quality project management. Educate sponsors to chunk projects into short sub projects and to focus on tight deliverables. When project started, if you have sponsors that are many a times you meet sponsors that don't really know what they want, is a serious problem in a project management. When the project have started, they will see them, they will still come and they want to do this, they want you to add this, they want to, but since the project have already started, if you don't take time, they'll push into scope creep. So there's a time they start adding, and the project becomes too big. So when they come like that, or if they want you to deliver one project, one big project that's supposed to be a program, you educate them the importance of creating projects, breaking them down into smaller sub-projects. Because some people will see a program as a project. There's two difference between a program and a project. When they come with a program and tell you that this is their project, you tell them this is a program, not a project. Educate them, because you are an authority in project management. They should rely on your expertise to do their own job very well. And that's all we have for scope management. Hello, can you guys hear me? Hello? Can you say something?
Yes, sir. We can hear you. I can hear you, sir.
Okay. It's just because I've seen so many people have left that maybe I'm seeing, is there any issue? Is a problem?
Yes, sir. So many people are complaining on the group that they can't log in. So many people are complaining on the group that they can't log in. Why some mistakenly logged out and have been unable to log in.
Okay. Well, at this point in time, I'm not going to be treating that problem. What I'll do is that I will continue, and after that, we'll upload the video for them to watch, and then we'll look at why is that way and find someone that will be solving these problems, why the session is going on. Is that okay?
Okay, sir. Alternatively, I didn't want to put it on the group without permission.
Okay.
Do you they can actually log in directly from Zoom? Like if they have the app, Zoom app, they can just log into Zoom, then use the meeting ID and put in the password. Like for those that have the password, those that are registered. and got mail, they can just put in the password and then they would log in directly through Zoom. But I didn't know if I should put it up on the group. It's another alternative.
Yeah, the issue here is that so many of them don't follow they don't read the instructions. It's very simple. All these things, I tried them out myself before. I make sure that everything is working smooth, but so many of them, they don't do any, they don't read the instructions. All they need is just to follow the short route. It's good for us to know how to read instruction and follow it very well. But we will look into that. That will not stop us because we missed yesterday. So we need to move on. We need to achieve this within the time frame. And what I will do is I will continue to see how much I can cover, and then I'll upload it. And we'll keep on refining our process to get exactly what we want.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
All right, sir.
Okay, I will move back to what we are doing. We finished the scope management. So I think what we need to do now is risk management. I will quickly go into that so I'll see how much I can cover. Okay, somebody raising hand. Oh yeah.
Good evening, class. Yes, good evening. Okay, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear earlier, but I'm able to hear now. But I raised my hand earlier, but I'm fine now. Thank you.
Okay, you can hear now.
Yes, properly. Thank you.
Okay, everybody should just this is the second day of this tutorial training properly. So we'll get there. Lucky enough, we have a good portal where we can upload the video, but it's good to participate. It's very good to participate in live session, because why it's good is you are learning and everybody is planning to start working remotely. So, and this is part of the remote job. You know, you might think you can equally easily go and watch the video. When you've after this whole processes and you got a job in a company, and this is a meeting between you and your stakeholder as the project manager, and you just log out. So you must learn how to train yourself to be disciplined, because we are talking about serious career. Project manager and business analyst, these are the people driving change in the organization. So you must learn to be principled. You must train yourself. If you are not ready for it, there is no way try to drag yourself. You know, it's not easy to be a big guy. You must work hard to be a big guy. All the big guys we are seeing now, they work hard, you know, to do that. So all these things, you are learning to work remotely. It's part of remote work. That's what we are doing. It's part of the training. It's a technology that has come to stay. None of us didn't know that it's going to, the time will come, our way of working will become remote, but it has come to stay. So I'll quickly go into risk management. No, we'll continue stakeholder management, not risk management. So at this point, we'll look into stakeholder management. Stakeholder management is the process of forming, managing, and maintaining constructive relationship by ensuring expectations have been achieved and end results meet quality expectation of the stakeholders or end users. Stakeholder management ensures that key stakeholders are kept satisfied throughout the project lifecycle. Now, stakeholders are the key drivers of the project. They have something in mind. They have objectives. So you must carry them along as much as you can. And to carry them along, you must have a plan to carry them along. You must have a plan to manage them. So there is a lot of techniques which you can employ to manage stakeholders to make sure that you have a good relationship with them. So they are important elements in project management. You cannot do without them. So you must have to love them. You know, some of them can be difficult to manage, but there is the politics in project management. You must have to play that politics to manage them very well. So look at the importance of stakeholder management. Getting the opinion of the highly influential and powerful stakeholders will enable you to shape and define your project from the onset. Stakeholder buy-in can improve the quality of your project. You must know how to buy your stakeholders. You must know how to do what they want, what their objective. Stakeholders completely understand your objectives and benefits of your project and can help improve support. When they understand you very well, most of them are out there to help you. They don't say why a stakeholder should employ you to do a job for him, and they will then want to frustrate you. So you find out because of this, you know that they really want to help you. So you have to find a way to work with them so that people can work very well. Important stakeholder management will help identify key blockers in your project so you can win them over. So these are the importance of effective stakeholder management. So let's look at some of the processes. First, you need to identify your stakeholders. It's very important once you join a project or you're given a project mandate or project brief, you need to look for your stakeholders. Develop a list of stakeholders when you are looking for them. Have a list of them, develop a list, identify them mutually. How each stakeholder is important to the project. Each stakeholder's expectation, stakeholder requirements in the project, categorize in terms of influence and power. What is their relationship to the company or the organization? So these are how you find them. When you find them, you find out their interests. Then you classify them according to their interests and their power. There's a tool to do that. What we call it stakeholder power grid. It helps to classify stakeholders in the way they have power in the project. So many of them are very powerful. So many of them are not powerful. You need to carry everybody. You don't need to look down on anybody, but you must give attention to those people that have high power and high interest in the project. There are some people that are spoilers in project. You need to watch out for those people as well, because they might have high power and they don't have interest. So they can mess their project up without them feeling the impact. So you prioritize. In this case, rate and rank stakeholder in terms of the following. Power. Do they have enough power to halt or influence the project? Proximity. What is their involvement in the project? Urgency. How urgent is your project to them? Then communication, you must have a communication strategy, communication plan, how to engage them, engagement, interpersonal skills. You must have these things. You must have a good personal relationship, PRO, good PR. You must be meeting with them. You must have a follow-up, and you must keep them aware. So you prioritize all these things. These are how you manage them to achieve a good relationship with them. Because if having a good relationship with them will help you. So let's look at stakeholder management checklist. You need to have a checklist. All these things are very important. What motivates the team? What information do they want or need? You need to write them down. Have it as a checklist. What is the best method of communication? I handled a project, and I was trying to schedule a meeting with the stakeholder, and it didn't work. So the stakeholder, so I have to find out what works for this stakeholder. I find out that he's always busy. So you need to find out, you need to follow the stakeholder, find out when he have chance. You don't need to wait for him to. So this kind of stakeholders, you must find a way to go and meet them, not them coming to meet you, or you just because you created a meeting plan and so you say they are not responding. You must find a way to manage them. You must find a way to navigate some of these difficult or dangerous situations. Who influences your project? You must know who have influence on your project. And these people are people you need to really work very close with. What is their current opinion of your work? You need to know how they are feeling about your work. Are they happy, or do they have negative impression about what you're doing? You need to know. So it will help you to manage your project. Are they happy with the work you are doing? You need to know if they are happy or not. If they are not happy, why are they not happy? These are the questions you need to ask yourself. Then you look at stakeholder management tools. These are the tools that stakeholders need to, you as a project manager, you need to manage your stakeholder. You have a communication plan. Then you have a racing matrix. We have a power grid, and we have a stakeholder analysis document. We are going to look at these tools one by one, and starting by a racing matrix. This is an example, a sample of a racing matrix. This is how it's going to look. These are what you are going to be using to work, to manage your stakeholders and your team. What he's saying here is that we are talking about who is responsible and who is accountable, who should be consulted, and who should be informed. This is what RACI is. As you can see here, this is a deliverable. In this deliverable, we have customer complaint reduction. So here we are trying to reduce customer complaint. And you look at here, who is responsible for this? You look at from responsible, in orange color, you look at Harvey is responsible for this activity, and who is accountable? Who is accountable for this? Look at the accountable. You look here, you see Adams. Adam is accountable, and he's the sponsor. Then you say who must be consulted. You need to consult some people. You look at this black color. You look at C. Peter should be consulted. So you must consult Peter while trying to deliver this deliverable. Zachariah must be consulted as well. And who should be informed while doing this? You see, Sarah must be informed. So that is how you make sure that you don't overlook anything. So when you get to your stakeholders list, and this maybe your team list, you plot everybody according to how you want them to fit in and participate in that role or activity. So that when you are trying to achieve that, you know whom you are meeting and when you are meeting the person. That's the importance of racing matrix. You can see how powerful it is and how it can help you to manage your stakeholder, manage your team very well. Then the next thing we're looking at now is stakeholder power grid. Power grid, you can see here, is power. This is a high power, and this is low power. Downstairs is low power. And from high power, you look at understand, you look at engage, you look at consider, you look at monitor. These are how you are going to plot them. Like those who have high power, these are Adam, is a CFO, and these are procurement. These are high powerful people, you know, and they need to understand, you need to understand them. You know, you need to understand them very well. Then Zachariah and Sami, they are very powerful as well. And with the analysis, you need to engage them. They are very powerful, and they seem to have high interest in the project. So these are people you need to work closely with, engage them. Then you see here, the technicians, they don't have a high power here. They have low power. So you need to just monitor them. You know, they equally have a low interest in the project. So just monitor them. But supervisor, Sarah, and operator, they have high interest in this project because maybe they are the people that will be benefiting from this project, but they don't have high power. They have high interest, but low power. So you need to consider them. You still need to let them know what they consider working with them because of their interest, high interest. So, but the people who have high power and high interest are these people in green, Zachariah and Sami. You need to work with them closely. And the spoilers here are Adam, CFO, and procurement. They have high power, but they don't have interest. If they mess their project up, they don't give a damn. So these are the people, that's why they are in red. You need to monitor them, you need to understand them. You need to just watch them closely. So that is stakeholder power matrix. So, and then there's other documents when you are doing your stakeholder analysis. And some of these documents is stakeholder roles and their involvement. You need to create this kind of worksheet where you plot stakeholders. From this, their name, their position, their role, their power. You must have analyzed the power, and then you keep them aware. For those you need to keep aware, you keep them aware. For those that are interested, for those that need support, supportive, these are how you classify them. You know, this is how the role and involvement worksheet looks like. These are used for stakeholder analysis. And then you come to involvement planning worksheet. You must have another plan how you involve your stakeholders. You must analyze all these things. You know, stakeholder management as your project manager's job is a bit technical, as you can see, but we are breaking it down for you to make sure that you are not going to struggle anyway as a project manager. So from here, involvement you see, you put the project, the stakeholder's name here, current situation. What are their current situation, their current involvement? You know, they are unaware, are they aware, are they interested, are they supportive? That is the current involvement. What the desired involvement? Okay, they have not been, for instance, they are unaware and you want them to be aware. So you move them from unaware to be aware here. So you need to make sure that you want them to be aware, or you don't want them. So these are the things. They are not, what is their interest? They are not interested. Or these are the things. How do you move them from the current state to the desired state? So this is how you manage it. If you want them to be unaware, this is how you manage. If you want, if they are being supportive or they're not being supportive, this is how you manage. You want them to be involved, you know, in the projects. If they want more involvement, then in the desired state, that's how you work on how to. For maybe you want them to be more aware. They've not been so much aware in the current, but in the future want them. So this is how you manage them, and that's how it was. Then the next one is a communication sheet. You must create a communication plan. It's very, very important. You create a communication plan for your project. And communication action worksheet is the best way to do that. You look at the stakeholder, you look at the communication method. You must have studied the stakeholder. Or is there a generally adopted method of communication that the company use? These are the things you need to find out. Then you follow it up. You must follow a proper way, adopted communication method. Then you know who to communicate. How often do you communicate? Is it by phone? Is it how often is it on weekly? Maybe at the end of the week you present weekly reports, or at the end of the week, or every day you call the person on phone, or is it during an emergency? Can you call on phone? Some people you don't call them on phone, just send them email. And then feedback. Whenever you communicate with them, there's a feedback. You log the feedback. What did they say after the communication? It must be, these are things that must be logged, so that whenever there is a situation, this will just, you look at the record and everybody will know how you'll be managing your project, the effort you'll be putting. And that's how you'll be navigating, making sure that your project moves on smoothly. So that is stakeholder analysis. And I think with this, I've put a lot of light on that. And if you follow these principles and the way I've just stated, you are not going to struggle, believe me. So let's move to cost management. Cost management is very key. You cannot run away from cost management. You must manage your cost as the project manager. But you mustn't be a chartered accountant in order to manage costs. So if you have basic costing principle or knowledge with a very good tool or template, then you should be able to manage the project cost very well. Cost management helps project manager establish what the project will cost and set in place control by which they can reduce the chance of the project going over the budget. So these are the importance of cost management. And to do that, looking at this template, that's how you break your cost down. So in most of some of the tools like Microsoft project software, it gives you a good grip on how to manage cost because it's incorporated in that software how you allocate your cost and then track your cost, making sure if you are going after plotting your cost, you baseline your cost, and that will help you to manage your cost very well. But we will still come on how to use tools like that Microsoft project tools. So, but here you can see how to manage your cost. For instance, when you break your project down, look at project work breakdown structure. The task here, project task. Then you look at Dave Johnson. You assign Dave Johnson, and the plan is to work from 8 hours a day on that project. So that is the plan. And at the end of the day, the actual cost is the actual hour is still 8 hours. And the hour is $30 per hour. So that is what is going to cost for Dave Johnson to do this job every day. So then you're looking at a material unit is 100 units and 5 units, $5 per unit. So then the fixed rate here is $50. So you're looking at the budget. At the end of the day, the budgeted amount for this tax on daily basis is 300. And at the end of the day, you are spending $790. This is ridiculous. How can you do that as a project manager? So look at here the balance under and over. One is red, showing that you have gone over the budget. So by $490 dollars. How can you do that as a project manager? The same deliverable, okay, this one, you are within the budget. That's why it's green. And this tax from Melissa Shaw, you still go over the budget. At the end of the day, the subtotal is that you've gone over the budget by $890, which makes you a very horrible project manager. That's why this the way you manage your costs. It has to be very transparent. So if you are doing well, you don't need anybody to tell you that you are doing well, and you are struggling with the cost, the project cost. Then if you know you are struggling, then you must find a way to keep your project under control, budget under control. That's the importance of costing. Then process of managing project costs. Estimate project costs. Cost estimation is the process that takes direct cost, indirect cost, and other factors into account, and calculate a budget that meets the financial commitment necessary for a successful project. Accurate cost estimation can do the difference between a successful plan and a failed plan. Yeah, you need to do your estimate very well before you start developing a budget. You must do estimate. Everyone does, even if you are not doing a project, even if you want to go for a shopping, you need a rough estimate. Everybody does. So estimation is very good. Do estimation, and after estimation, then develop a project budget, a proper project budget after the estimation. A project budget is the total project cost needed to complete a project over a defined period of time. It's used to estimate what the cost of the project will be for every phase of the project. Project budgets include labor costs, material procurement costs, and operating costs. It can be reviewed throughout the project. This then, after estimating, then you plan and develop a real budget that's going to be a working document for you to manage your project. Then the next thing is to develop a plan to track the budget. You need to track it to make sure that you control, make sure you don't go above the budget. Use a template to track the cost. Start by collecting the labor, how long each task will take, the hour rate of each team member, material, and all units of measurement. These are very important. That's how you collect money, develop, then track it. With that, you should stand a good chance of not going above budget. So that's all we have about cost management. Then the next component we need to look into is risk management. Risk management is very important. If you can manage your project risk very well, then you should be able to navigate, because these are the risks, and you should be a proactive project manager in order to manage risk very well. Project risk management is the process of identifying, analyzing, and responding to any risk that arises over the life cycle of a project to help the project remain on track and meet its goal. Risk management isn't only a reactive process. It should be equally proactive. You mustn't just be reacting when things are about to happen or when things have happened. A good project manager must have an eagle eye to spot things before it happens. You must read the situation around their project, to know when there is danger coming. And you must set a lot of indicators that will show red when there is things about, so you'll be able to spot it and then move quickly to stop it or handle it. There's tools we use in risk management. So, and some of the tools, the popular one is RAID. RAID is where you you manage your risk, assumption, issues, and dependencies. And you can see in order to manage risk, when you identify risk and log the risk, you should be able to log the risk according to, you need to prioritize the risk. You can see this template, this red log here. You have a green, which is low, the risk is low. You must prioritize the risk according to the risk level. Is it low? Is it medium? Is it high? Or is it critical? So critical risk must be handled with urgency, and you must give it all the attention. High risk is equally dangerous. It needs to be very swift as well. And medium risk, not that you ignore it, but you don't need to handle it the way you manage a critical, and low risk are some of the risks. Yeah, you need to still address it. You take your time to know, study it, and deal with it. These are how you manage risk. And equally managing risk, you need to look at the assumptions and the issues, and that's how you manage risk very well. There are steps identified in risk management, which are very key. The first step is to identify the risk. First thing towards resolving a risk is to identify the risk and register the risk. And then when you register the risk, you brainstorm with your team on how to manage the risk. Try to carry your team along while managing your risk. Now, when you identify the risk and register the risk, the next thing is to do the risk analysis. You can analyze project risk to address the impact, such as avoiding the risk, owning the risk, reducing the your exposure, or minimize the impact, or transferring the risk. So many companies prefer transferring the risk. When you transfer the risk, like that's why the insurance companies are there to manage your risk for you. So it's a very good way of managing risk, because they are trained, they are specialists in managing risk. Then another thing is when you have identified, you need to prioritize the risk, categorize the risk as high, medium, or low. Some risks require immediate attention, just like I showed in the red log. They are the risks that can derail your project. They are high risk, so you need to tackle them swiftly. Assign an owner to the risk. When you identify risk, prioritize risk, then the next thing is assigning an owner. From your project team, you must spot who is a very good person to manage this risk based on their skill level and their expertise, and assign the risk to the person. Then the person becomes the owner of that risk. That person should lead to resolve the risk. And there, you respond to risk. For each major risk identified, you create a plan to mitigate the risk. Develop a risk strategy, some preventive or contingency plan. Work with the risk owner to make sure that the risk owner is using the plan created to implement or to resolve the risk. Then you monitor the risk. Whoever owns the risk will be responsible for tracking the progress towards resolution, but you will need to stay up to date to have an accurate picture of the project's overall progress to identify and monitor new risks. Having regular risk meeting, RAID meeting is a good way of monitoring risk. Like if you start a project, it's a very good practice to have a regular RAID meeting, at least once a week, or maybe once a week is very good. So you help you to keep accurate, because whenever you're having RAID, you're observing all the risks, which risk has been closed, which risk is the level, the stage as the risk management. So you need to be looking at it. And whenever a risk is managed or have been resolved, it is closed. If you go to RAID, which I'll provide templates on how to manage RAID, you know how to open and close a risk. I provided this picture to show how to analyze risk in real time. So risk analysis are how to analyze the risk of your project. When analyze, examine methodically in details. Then why? Why analyze the risk? We analyze the risk to avoid something like litigation, to address regulatory issue, either to comply with new legislation or reduce exposure or minimize the impact. That's why you analyze risk. Then, what are the insights? One, lack of information. Much information, maybe it's complex. Most industries have best practice. Many companies have a framework, risk analysis done in the extreme. So these are some of the insights, like many companies, they have a framework on how to manage their risk. And it's good to follow some of these process. They are aware of managing their risk. Look at the risk, the way they have been doing it. It will help you. Then initiating there is a process of equally analyzing risk within the project. During initiation stage, you equally look at it. During planning stage, during executive stage, during monitoring stage, you must be monitoring a risk within all these stages to make sure that you control your risk very well. What I'm trying to say, that risk management is a continuous process. You just don't do it once. You must monitor risk all the time. It's a continuous process. You mustn't be reactive. You must be proactive. And with that, and with all these tools and templates, you should be able to have a good grasp on how to manage your risk very well. Now, the last component which we are going to deal with is change management. Change management is becoming very popular in project management, because it's not just about identifying implementing a process, implementing solving a problem is one thing, but managing the change is another thing. So, and change can come in so many ways. It can be to move a company from one place, from one stage to another, maybe new technologies. But after that, what happens? Or within that change processes, what happens? What about the resistance? How do you make sure that everybody complies and everybody is happy? Change management is a structured approach for training individuals, teams, organizations from a current state to a desired future state. So that is the main purpose of change. You need to prepare everybody, both their mind frame, their skill set. You need to prepare them holistically to be able to allow this desired future state to take place. That's the importance of change management. Let's look at the change management processes. Identify what will change. What is going to change within the organization? Is it process improvement? You guys trying to reduce waste? Maybe moving to the cloud from on-premise? These are some of the, what are the changes? So present a solid business case to gain buy-in. You must present a solid business about the change. You make a strong business case. Business case has been designed by the business analyst. So you must understand the business case. You need to work with the business analyst to understand the business case very well. Most of the time, you might be the person the business analyst might be reporting to. So, but there must be a solid case, a strong case. Create a roadmap on how to manage this change. There must be a roadmap. Gather data for evaluation. You must gather data for evaluation during this change management process. You need to understand the requirements that's needed. That's the importance of data gathering and analysis. And when that's been done, then the next thing is you need to communicate. Constant communication is very good. Communicate to all the stakeholders, all people that have stake within this team, both senior management and junior management, and even the customers, everybody that got a stake. There must be constant flow of communication. Everybody must be carried along. Then monitor and manage the risk. There should be risk. People must say no. People must try to resist. These are some of the risks involved. You need to know how to manage them. Sensitize them. Let them know the importance of that change, and try to buy them in. Then when after everything is done, the change has been implemented, then celebrate the success with every stakeholder, everybody involved contributed in achieving that change. And then continuously review and improve the process. When you must have finished your project, there's something you need to do. Call it a post-implementation review. That change must be maintained. You must have a custom because it's a change, so that people will not go back to their old ways of doing things. And that is it. So that is all about change management, and that is what we have for this night. And I think we have 5 minutes remaining officially, but I'm going to stop here for tonight. And next time, we're going to look at project management techniques, which is work breakdown structure, critical path method, Gantt, Scrum, and Kanban. So these are what we are going to look at next. But for tonight, we are stopping at change management. And I want to appreciate everybody that have been following. I can see we still have, we are still 34 in numbers that are patiently waiting, and that's very good. And for those that are having challenges logging in, this video will be uploaded in the course portal for you people to go and look at it and continue our learning. So that is it for tonight. We'll continue to communicate. Please keep checking your notice board. No, take this thing as you are a serious student. If you must wake up all the night, make sure that at the end of the day you are achieving something for yourself. So, and I will, at this point, if anybody got something to say, I think it's time to do that. Hello, class.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, how are you?
Hello, sir. No question.
Okay.
On my part, I don't have a question.
Okay. I think I need to leave you guys, so you go. I noticed there we have a big man here in the house by name Collins Okobi. Collins, if you are there, please can you talk to the class? Okay. All right. Yeah. I will stop recording now.